Branding is a facade that lets the message punch through more effectively. Or at least that's how they perceive it. But is it really just a facade? It makes the message sharper, clearer, richer, or simply more interesting. But that's just one side of branding. The other side is perception, how people see you or your firm the instant your brand appears. Those two facets together decide whether your message lands or bounces. Before crafting your message, you need to understand who are you speaking to. Think of it this way. Drilling through foam, metal, wood, or cork, each requires a specific bit, a speed, and angle, depending on the qualities of the material. Your communication works the same way. The tone and style help your message connect, but only if you identify the right audience first. For creative professionals, identifying your audience can feel like aiming at a moving target. Unless you have a highly focused niche, potential clients can seem scattered. Like a piece of oak, your market isn't just one homogeneous material. It has knots, grains, patterns, and varying densities. Understanding these nuances is crucial for success. We will map every feature of this material before you squeeze the trigger. When you get this right, your messaging, visual, site copy, and proposal deck will effectively connect with your target audience and achieve your goals. To organize this effectively, we'll create a clear framework that makes it easier to analyze and implement. This is crucial because it narrows down a lot of our options and also speaks about what we want to get into. For example, let's say we are a general architecture firm, right? And we are already done several projects, maybe 10 or 20. And, those came from word of mouth or direct contact, right? Things definitely are, I would say, outside of our control. And that's okay. We might still want those. But when we're thinking about branding, we're also thinking about controlling who gets to our door. That's very much how it works. We're aiming to speak directly to the actual type of person we want to attract. When defining your segment, start by recognizing what you actually want to avoid. This might sound counterintuitive, but it's incredibly effective. Think about the last few projects that drained your energy or the clients that made you question your career choice. That's valuable data. Those experiences point directly to the segments you should avoid. Maybe it's working with the real estate developers who prioritize speed over quality, or perhaps it's residential clients with unrealistic Pinterest boards. Next, find the intersections of three elements: what excites you professionally, what you're genuinely good at, and where there's actual market demand. Your ideal segment should be specific enough to focus your efforts, like eco-conscious, urban professional building 700K to 1.2 million homes, but broad enough to sustain your business. Remember, this isn't about excluding clients, it's about focusing your energy on who you serve best. When you know exactly who you're talking to, your branding decisions become much clearer and effective. Oh, by the way, there's a completely free PDF workbook if you need a guide to help you define and apply these concepts to your company. Follow the link below. Once we've identified our target segment, we need to validate if it's aligned with our, business financial goals and also capabilities. This involves analyzing several key factors. For example, if we can deliver the actual quality of work that points to this specific segment. Also, are their typical budgets aligned with our expectations? Third, if there's enough market volume to, sustain a regular growth. This reality check helps us prevent a mismatch between our target audience and the actual business capabilities. When evaluating your skills and joy in a particular market segment, consider if the work genuinely excites you and your team. For our example, we have deep expertise in residential projects, let's say, right? And we find satisfaction in this type of work. We've also cultivated a strong relationship with reliable constructors who share our vision. This combination of technical skill and genuine enthusiasm creates a solid foundation for serving our target audience effectively. We're not just capable of doing the work, we are actually enjoying it. The next phase involves mapping out what this person looks like, sounds like, and behaves like. These are the three, core ingredients of this proto material we are defining. First, the looks are, kind of the least important, but they still play a good role in our consciousness when we are doing this exercise. If we have an image that accurately reflects what we have in mind about this person, that definitely helps paint the right picture. You have that backdrop thinking about them that actually then you would more accurately speak to them. Then we have how he or she sounds. How they sound is broader, right? It's essentially about who they speak to and how they speak, right? What they say online, what they pay attention to, and their opinions, right? Essentially, it's the sort of output they have. You can find this information in reviews from your experience with people like this. You can ask yourself, are they people who complain, who are easygoing, sharp, or agreeable? This is the flavor we want to define clearly and add to the image we are painting. And on top of that, how they behave tells you the medium they are in. So we'll be there with them. We'll speak to them on that medium. We'll speak the way they speak. And we try to use the same language. In marketing terms, this is called a user persona, or ICP, like ideal customer profile. I'm no architect, but I'll try my best to define this material, right? This actual user persona for a fictitious architecture firm, now that we are on that topic. Let's say we have Pete Dawson. It's an accountant. Pete likes houses that are very well built, that are robust and sturdy, right? He doesn't know anything about architecture, but he's, an accountant that has seen, examples of the architecture he likes. He just can't convey the actual style clearly, right? He's done some research, he's kind of close, but he can't fully articulate it. His style is a, let's say, minimalist kind of home with open spaces, tall ceilings, and very sharp materials and sharp shapes. And he has a folder with many saved images, houses, different buildings that he thinks are the best in representing this style that he wants, right? Of course, this folder contains many things that don't quite match perfectly. He's actually trying his best. And so Pete hangs out on Instagram. He's not verbose. He, doesn't write or ask about it. He simply consumes it and pays attention to that specific design style. So what did we just do here? We very accurately defined the behavior, that tacit way of thinking, the looks and interests, the way he pinned down this sort of concepts, right? And the way he tries to understand it. This definition might seem kind of narrow or constrained, but it's essential to begin clearly. So later we can kind of modify it or mold it to be more accurate, and have a better representation of the people we are speaking to. Our Message will now be a matching color, matching pace, matching type, and matching industry. All these characteristics will allow our message to pierce more accurately and effectively. There's another important part on defining our materials, which is finding its soft spot. The soft spot is essential because some materials simply can't be pierced, sanded, or molded if you don't clearly understand their weaknesses, right? This is something we must know about. The person we've defined makes decisions around what they want to achieve, what they desire, and also around what they need. All of those decisions are shaped by the pain they feel, a kind of tacit ache, right? Something that, in their head is difficult to break through. And they feel it's kind of hard to overcome. The reason, we define this is because it's one of the ways we can clearly, show the solution we are offering to them. If we empathize and mention their pains, they will immediately pay attention. If we return to our persona, Pete Dawson, we make the exercise of identifying his pain, and we will see that Pete struggles to conveying what he actually wants. He has, this kind of beautiful idea in his mind, but he's having trouble to actually speaking about it or pinpointing the actual, details he wants about it. We must define these pains precisely because they are the entry points that we can use to propose our solutions. Next, let's move to the second part, which is defining the messaging. It's the shape of the tool we're going to use to pierce that material effectively. Now that we understand the material, we move to shaping our message. If we continue with the material analogy, it is the actual tool we'll use to pierce it. Because knowing what wood are we going to work with is great, but without the right tip on our drill bit, we won't break through effectively. This messaging tool has 4 clear components. First is the tip, the essence of the message. It's the single core idea we deliver. This strikes first and sets the stage. To find this, we ask, what's the sharpest truth or hook that connects directly to their pain, desire, or a shift in the perspective? This hook is the actual penetration point. It speaks directly to the audience first. Second, we have the angle. This is about how we frame our message. How do we approach the truth? Are we being educational, contrarian, exposing something overlooked, or bringing clarity to confusion? The angle is also directly informed by understanding our material deeply. And third is the coding, right? The tone or emotional layer. It's how our message sounds emotionally. It is, warm or confrontational. Does it spike an emotional reaction? Is it casual or authoritative, reassuring or provocative? This coding provides a flavor to our piercing tool. And fourth, we have the force or pressure, the delivery context. Is this a cold first touch outreach? Is it part of a nurturing sequence, a long-form sales page, or a live conversation? This delivery mechanism also ties directly to our audience behavior. If they're mostly online, we deliver there. If they require an in-person conversation, we adapt accordingly. This pressure tells us how immediate or how subtle our penetration needs to be. By clearly defining these four aspects, tip, angle, coding, and force, we shape a piercing tool perfectly aligned with the material we've defined. All right, this was the first part of our two-part series about how to do branding effectively. You might have noticed we also covered sales tactics, positioning, and messaging strategy. These are all deeply interconnected parts of building a strong brand presence. The secret is to start with a clear understanding of who you're speaking to, then build your message and visual identity around that foundation. In the next part of this series, we'll explore advanced branding concepts like brand architecture, extension strategies, and how to maintain brand consistency across different channels and touchpoints. We'll also dive deeper into measuring brand effectiveness and adjusting your strategy based on market feedback. If you want to see the next part, you can click here. Thanks for watching.